My blissful, gorgeous self, journey of nations from gods of sky to the gods of earth is Krishna Leela. And Krishna is the name of humanity which is in ambrosial embrace with the angelic values of life. Krishna is the synonym for concentrated universality that cannot be confined in petty laws of man, culture, or religion. The physical confinement of humanity appears in skin and forms. These limits give him perception of friend and wife and parents and aliens and so many. But constant efforts of humanity has one ultimate goal: to leap out of these limitations. Krishna is the name for that power, that consciousness which enforces all beings to leap on through all-tracking series of cocoons of illusion, of mind games, and transcending the diversity, unite with oneness of eternity. If the feminine world has ever been free, equal to man with no problem, then it is in Krishna's proximity in Vrindavan, my dear friends. Perhaps that is why the ladies tie up their scarf on Kadamba tree at the bank of Yamuna river in Vrindavan. In fact, who is there such a lady who would not long her dress to be stolen by Krishna? Because who on earth is that well-informed lady who does not know in the midst of tough and crook and rude affairs of survival, it is Krishna who eternifies their clothes of stamina, my dear friends. Radha consciousness is inconceivably delicious. Radha and Krishna are one. Radha is female form of Krishna and Krishna is male form of Radha. Radha is the synonym for that form of where love and devotion are in ecstatic trance. Satyabhama, Meera and all traveled far distances on this path, but there was a heat, a fire, an oven in their trances of ecstasies. Although it is impossible to burn Krishna, but they did perspire him, my dear friend. Radha is neither hot nor cold, she is just a fullness. Unity is Krishna's nature and diversity is his glory. But unless and until the union comes, there is no peace, no joy. East and west, north and south, where 1,000 ropes in Krishna's age 5,000 years ago, my dear friends. First was tangled up, scattered through Hastinapur and Indraprastha. Second was Giribraj to Manipur. Third was Mathura to Dwarka. Fourth was around the globe. Fifth was relationship between our planet and all other planets in the solar system. How heavily terrified, terribly knotted, tangled up they all were, and Krishna unknotted so easily. He jumped on the ground of action and became busy. Dharmakhetre Kurukshetre. What a hard labor he did. What loving insight he got. What a fantastic intuition he applied. He did straighten them out, my dear friends. Staying out the first, starting out, the first slam he did was by age of 11 years of age. By the hits in tune, his fantastic dance with milkmaids of Vrindavan, he broke all pillars of Kansa's demonic empire. Then he came to Mathura, and by the festive gate of terrific dance of wrestling, he dragged him off the royal throne and dashed him to the death. This was first challenging slaying of Krishna, not through microphone, but by action, which echoed throughout the world in and out. In Magad, it was heard loud and clear. Whom Krishna chooses, he is the emperor. Unmarried Krishna's single-handed victory over 17 horrible attacks of 10,000 horse-powered men with 27,000 Spartan spirited warriors filled the heart of all virgins with sweet dreams with Krishna. Krishna sang a song, and he always did, as he was awaiting an opportunity, and when he sang, philosophy became a song of romantic movie, song of romancing with fullness of life, equipped with dance and music. In the midst of an intergalactic war, he sang a song of such a humanity which draws all values of humanness by using his time, energy and intelligence intensively. Not a single iota is left. The entirety is invested in each action, yet not even the slightest smell of expectation is allowed. It is this stench, worse than skunks, more unhygienic pollutant than smokes of New York and Los Angeles and London. For this, Krishna gives a formula of suspension of modifications of thinking principle. Kurmongani vasarvasha. Exactly like tortoise he says. So, whatever Krishna does, it does it wholeheartedly and intensively, investing his entirety. If he acts, if he eats intensively. That does not mean he is a binge eater. No. He eats, he tastes all the deliciousness of each sip, each morsel, each food item that he eats with his fullness. Whatever Krishna does, it's with absolute fullness. He enjoys fully, he loves fully, he protects fully, and he fights fully. All the social and national laws are to correct you, my dear friends. All rules of civilizations and culture and religions are to refine you. All religions are to mature you, energize you, so that you can act intensively, enjoy wholeheartedly, love with your entirety, with no expectation at all. Karmanne vadikaraste Krishna said, I never die because I was never born. I only appear. I have always been and I shall always be. Through my song, my appearance is revealed unto you. My revelation happens in piecemeals with bliss that comes to you when no hanker for the fruit of action is left and your intensive action penetrates your life. My dear friends, from whom the series of creations flow, in whom they all exist, evolve, and at last dissolve. That ultimate reality is Krishna, my dear friends. The birth is of the world and not of Krishna. Evolution is of the world and not of Krishna. Dissolution is of the world and not of Krishna. It is from the reality of Krishna progressive existence of the world is affirmed and not the vice versa. When the creation has not started or has not dissolved, Krishna still exists. And when it is dissolved, still Krishna exists in his full glory and grace as he is now. Sridhar Swami calls this canto Asraya Skandha, my dear friends, I mean 10th canto. Sri Vallabhacharya calls it Nirodha Skandha. Okay? I have no problem with either of them. Both expounded it according to their traditions, and I enjoy them equally. In this canto, the Lord Sri Krishna is illuminating the light of his bliss, inundating pastimes according to the murmuring, meandering, serpentine streams of feelings of his devotees. Every moment he is reciprocating, responding, communicating the most urgent, high-rising tides of love of the milkmaids of Vrindavan. Through instrumentality of them attracting and fascinating the heart of all generations of mankind throughout the history of creation is the purpose of his serpentine, mystical pastimes in this canto, in this 10th canto, my dear friends. This canto is depicted as the countenance of the person of Srimad Bhagavatam, who is none else but sound incarnation of Sri Krishna himself. He is the pleasant smile that always dances upon it, giving expressions to the bliss, showering rasamalayam. This is the very soul of the consciousness. This is the very soul of all connoisseurs. It is an adventure of Sri Krishna to entangle the heart of the clean-hearted ones through the light of his beauty and sweetness, and hold it upon and on and on and on and on. For this, it is the shelter, ashraya, for all purified one, for all uplifted one, for all enlightened one. This is the shelter. Because in the world sees them as a madman, as a lunatic, as impractical. So they don't belong there. So they look for shelter. Where shall we live? So this is the shelter, the ashraya. That is why the name of this canto is ashraya, as well as suspension, Nirodh, both together, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it all by my heart. And it is your turn to enjoy it as I am enjoying it. That is why I am speaking it out today. My dear friends, until Krishna's birth up to 30th, I shall be speaking on 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam until the birth of Sri Krishna. Thank you very much.